Let me know when you're live. Here we go. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Latino Acceleration first webcast of 2025. I want to say Happy New Year to everybody. And thanks for joining us today. I hope you're staying warm wherever you are across the U.S. and maybe across the world. I want to, first of all, everybody, if you can, please always in the chat, where are you calling or where you're dialing in from, and also put your LinkedIn profile in there. Let's just all keep connecting. Very important for our community to stay connected and to get connected. So let's please take advantage of that. As far as me, for those of you who I haven't met, so I'm Refugio, or Ref Atilano. I am the author of the Latino Leadership Playbook. I am the creator of the Latino Leadership Club, which is a Latino-centric development experience for professional development for Latinos. Also, I'm director of cultural competency at AbbVie, the world's third largest pharma company. So just really excited to be here. And by the way, I got to put a quick caveat. Everything I'm doing here is on my own. It is not sponsored by AbbVie. So I just got to throw that out there. As we get going, today's topic is super critical, especially with the evolution of ERGs. And I know Dr. Robert Rodriguez is going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment here. But, myself being a global chair of Latino ERG, an award-winning ERG, I'm very proud of that. But, we're very focused on business value, right? We're very focused on driving impact across the entire year. We always have HHM. We'll always have our celebrations. We'll always have our karaoke's or whatever else we do. But when it comes down to it, right, we have to find a way to add value for the business. So, for instance, on the ERG I lead, we are focused on, helping TA and ED or DEI teams recruit into AbbVie. We have Latino networks, and we use that, right, to drive talent into your organization, to attract and drive talent. The other thing we do is we plug into our businesses across our organization. So, for example, we use our Latino ERG to provide Latino insights around clinical trials. What are some barriers and what are some ways to plug in? But very Latino-centric insights, very deep insights that we can use to help drive our business forward. And then finally, we've developed our own Latino leadership program as well. It's very important to close that leadership gap. If you don't know, we're almost 20% of the population, but only 4% of us are in senior leader roles. And so at least with my ERG, and hopefully you're going to hear some more examples, we're working hard to close that gap. We're developing leadership programs. We're sending people to conferences to develop those skills, right? We are developing mindsets. We are tackling cultural leadership and understanding our superpowers as Latinos and using that to drive impact in business. So those are a few things we do, from my ERG. But today is not about us, right? I'm just trying to set the stage here. Today, I want you to hear what other powerful ERGs and ERG leaders and ERG experts like Robert Rodriguez have to offer you. It's really taking this time to align all of us, right? So whether if you're a leader, a member, sponsor, ally, we want to give you real life insights and real succinct examples of what it takes to add value for your business, or at least looking at ways to identify value that you can drive for your business. Again, with the evolution of ERGs and where we're going, it's super critical that we start operating differently. Again, fun, always going to be there. HHM, always going to be there. But let's start adding value across the year. So with that, we're going to bring everybody on stage. So let's take a second to do that. And as we do that, what we'll do is I'll go through everybody one by one, and we'll start with intros, and then we'll do Q&A. As we go through this discussion, if you have questions, please go ahead and put those in the chat. We'll do our best to follow them and make sure we address those. Okay, Liliana, I don't see you for some reason. Are you on camera? There we go, I think.
I am, but
okay.
I don't know what happened.
That's fine. Yeah, we'll go with it, without the camera if needed, but we can hear you, which is great. So with that, let's go and get started with introductions. And Liliana, we'll start with you and just give us a quick intro about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Yes, absolutely. Good evening, everyone. My name is Liliana Ceballos. I'm part of the organization in Chevron. I'm the global president for for Chevron, that we call it Somos. And, one of the things that Ref asked us to think about or share during our introduction is what is exciting about our community and what does excitement. And honestly, just seeing the growth of the Latinos in leadership and government and businesses, and just increasing the numbers and STEM education, it's really awesome. And there's still so much work to be done, but it's great to see the evolution and increase in numbers. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. And we'll see if we can get your camera going in the background while we go through everybody else. Yvonne, I'll go to you as the next one here.
Awesome. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Yvonne Bellis. I am a senior customer loyalty manager at Cisco, where I lead the strategy for our customer engagement and program onboarding experience. And right now, I also have the privilege of co-leading Cisco's Hispanic Associate Resource Team, known as HEART. So, to follow Liliana, to share something that excites me most about our community is really our resilience and our resourcefulness right now, right? So the way that our community finds creative solutions and overcomes challenges is just absolutely incredible. So whether that's in the workplace or in business or in your personal life, like I've continuously seen demonstration of resilience and the ability to adapt. So
awesome. Welcome. Thanks, Yvonne. Dr. Robert.
Robert Rodriguez, president and founder of DRR Advisors, a diversity consulting firm. I focus in two areas: Latino talent initiatives and employee resource groups. I used to work in corporate America. When I was in corporate, I used to be a member of an ERG. I was an ERG president, executive sponsor. So I've been on that side of the equation. Now I help companies with their ERG initiatives. I've written a couple books. The most recent one is ERG Excellence. So sorry, Ref, I had to do my shameless book plug. I have a doctorate in organization development. I do a 2-day Latino leadership program that's hosted every year at the faculty club at Harvard University in Cambridge and the faculty club at Stanford University in Palo Alto. And then, with regards to what excites me about our community, everything, right? Our food, our language, our music, our dance. But right now, what I'm really focused on is the history of our community, right? Just learning more about, Eva Perón in Argentina, the Trujillo regime in Dominican Republic, what's happening in Venezuela, learning about FARC in Colombia. So I'm really excited just to learn about our history because it might inform our Latin roots as we move forward. So, and I'm calling from Chicago.
Awesome. Welcome, Dr. Robert. Really appreciate it. And I'm going to go to Liliana one time. Liliana, if you want to try to get totally out and come back in, let's try that. See if we can get your picture. If not, we'll go with what we have. But give that a shot.
We'll do that. Okay. Be right back.
Yep. All right, Mr. Alex, I'll go to you. Intro.
All right. My name is Alex Barreto. Been with the company AT&T for 20 years. Started my career in Connecticut. Now I'm in Atlanta with AT&T's Office of the President. Currently the CEO of Hacemos, AT&T's Latino Hispanic ERG, which we're also a 501c3. Our corporate pillars are corporation, community, and employee. We have signature events such as High Technology Day and our scholarship program.
Awesome. And what excites you most about the Latino community?
Excites me most is the progress that we make, right? With everything that we do when it comes to what we give to the community. For example, last year we gave out 88 scholarships nationwide. Oh, yeah. And hearing the testimonials from the students come back and say, hey, because of your scholarship, I was able to do this, or I probably wouldn't have been able to even think about going to college or afford college or university if it wasn't for your scholarship. So doing that makes the work we do worth it.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And we'll talk more about that in a moment here. And then finally, Janie, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Ref, for inviting me on this panel. I'm honored to be amongst this esteemed group of panelists. And I see in the chat some familiar names. So Frank, I'm calling you out. Caesar, calling you out as well. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Janie Cervera, I'm a managing director and head of wealth sales support and operations at BMO. I've been with BMO twice now. This is my second time around for 8 years, and I'm currently serving as the executive sponsor for the Latino Alliance ERG. Previous to the exec sponsor role, I was a global chair for a couple of years, and then the national chair a couple of years before. What excites me most about our community is the future, the opportunity we have right now and in the future as Latinos in the U.S. Our overall population growth within the U.S., our economic power of a combined 3.6 billion GDP, our contributions to creating businesses, and how we have influenced everything from art to food to music to film to business and politics. Granted, there's a lot more to conquer, but we're heading there. You know, the world is turning browner, and we truly are the future. As a Latina, I want to see people like me in influential roles, doctors, lawyers, scientists, angel investors, C-suites. And in my line of work, wealth, I want to see wealthy Latino families. So more to come.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenny.
Love it.
Yeah, and just to recap, I don't think I said what excites me most, but everything everybody says, and just to add on top of that is the energy we have, right? It's the passion that we have to accelerate and to develop ourselves, and that's why today's discussion is so important, because we have to develop, we have to add impact in new ways, we have to drive business, right? We have to influence business, and so as we listen today to this esteemed panel, I want you to think of ways that you're going to add value, ways that you're going to influence leaders or influence business in different ways, right? Stand out as a leader, and in the end, you'll be in a great place for your career as well as for your business. So with that, to kick us off, Dr. Robert, we'll kick things off with you. But tell us about some of the trends you're seeing out there with ERGs and specifically Latino ERGs. Talk to us about what's going on out there.
Yeah. So there's a couple things, and these are trends I've been seeing for the last 12, 24 months, right? 4 quick ones, right? First, we are starting to see ERG leaders burning out a little bit faster than before, right? So that's a real issue, right? As we're asking our ERGs to do more, right? Including adding business impact, the leaders are just, they can't keep doing all the heavy lifting. So we're seeing an increase focused on succession planning and leadership continuity, right? At many companies I work with, the Latino ERG leader is like the person who draws the shortest straw. Like, I don't want to do it, you do it. I ain't going to do it. Let's get, Mariana to do it, right? And and then the leader is someone who didn't even want in the first place, right? So we're seeing companies trying to make that ERG leader role more desirable, right, and higher supported. The second thing is a much more narrow focus, right? We're definitely seeing an under-promise, over-deliver mentality by Latino ERG. So they're saying, hey, there's tons of things we could do, but instead of focusing on a lot of breadth, where we do a lot of things but not very deep, they're starting to say, hey, wait a minute, let's do fewer things, but let's do them with much greater impact, right? So we're starting to see that approach, which I think is much, much more sustainable. Metrics is probably the number one topic I'm seeing. ERGs in general have done a great job of measuring their activity, right? Hey, we have this many members, we have this many events, this many people showed up, and that's a great start. But they're struggling to measure their impact. So what's the impact of all that work? So Latino ERGs are starting to work on metrics that matter, is what I call them. And then the fourth one, which ties exactly to what we're talking about, is that business impact. Latino ERGs can no longer afford to be seen as the food, flag, and fun folks, right? That's important stuff. We need to celebrate our culture, and we need to be visible in our communities. But if we can articulate how we can support business initiatives, that's going to elevate our credibility and enhance the visibility and exposure of the leaders of our Latino ERG. So those are kind of top 3 or 4 things that I'm seeing, nationwide across all the industries.
Yeah, those are great calls, especially on the burnout side. I don't know if anybody has any other ideas on burnout, but one of the things we do, Dr. Robert, is we're at least the ERG we run we have a deep bench. Yeah. But one of the key roles that we created a couple of years ago, and this is just a strategy I can share with everybody just for consideration, is we actually created a formal chief of staff position.
I love that.
That does a couple of things. One, it alleviates all the tracking, if you will, from the leadership team. I should say from the leadership team, but from the chairs. but it really helps keep everybody organized, keeps them kind of on point. We can route through, requests through them, right? And plus, it helps, kind of to your point, Dr. Robert, succession planning. You can use that chief of staff, since they know the business so well. They have to be a strong leader to be a chief of staff. It sets them up nicely for a leadership role eventually. So just one strategy that we've used that hopefully can add value for people. All right, switching gears here. So thank you for that. Again, a lot of great insights. I'm hoping people are taking notes. But now as we move to kind of leadership development, professional development, creating better, stronger Latino leaders, I want to go to Liliana and Alex, and I'll start with Liliana. Talk to us about some of the things your ERG has done, and will do to create stronger Latino leaders.
Yes, thanks for the question, Ref. And this is an area that is very important for ERG. It's actually part of our mission and areas of focus. We want to build better leaders, and it really ties to Chevron's objective to support the Chevron promise to safely deliver a cleaner and affordable energy and a lower carbon future. So a lot of some of the main activities that we've done is we created our own leadership program in partnership with SMU. So this is something that our ERG has started. It's called the Chevron Latino Leadership Academy, right? And so it provides the knowledge and the skills and the resources to accelerate these high potentials to see more senior leadership positions. And that program also addresses how our Latinidad and how we can leverage our culture to be more of an asset to the company. We also created 3 different mentoring programs that addresses the needs of our members, from somebody who's starting at the company, mid-management, mid-career, and then also international, because we have members that are around, that are in different parts of the world. So we've done that. And we actually, we started with this program back in 2019 when we had just 72 participants. Now we have over 700 that are participants in our program. And so we've seen the growth and the need. Another thing that we do is through our partnerships with ACER, we nominated people to participate in their leadership conference. We've also successfully sent 147 members to attend these different conferences throughout the year. And then their Young Hispanic Corporate Achievers Leadership Program, we've actually have a team that specifically works with the nominees to put a successful application and guide them through the process to ensure that we have successful candidates. And we actually had 14 members that have gone through the program and graduated. So that has been a tremendous add to our programming. Our global leadership conference that we have on an annual basis, where we invite top-notch leaders internally and external to again continue focusing on develop those leadership skills that the company needs to run the business successfully. And then we also have coaching circles for the Latino Executive Association that we have. It's a way for them to also help take their leadership and how do they support one another to continue growing to more leadership positions and advancing to the C-suite. So that's a little bit of the things that we do. But like I said, this is a big focus for our ERG, tying it back and helping Chevron build better leaders.
That's amazing. And what's your budget? Like $18 million or something? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, it sounds great. And just to go a little bit deeper on your in-house leadership program, like what's the criteria for identifying and getting people through that?
So the program has been established for, I would say, the past 4 or 5 years. And so it has evolved, but now it's a more structured program where the manager sponsors nominate an employee who's shown proven performance over the years. And so there is a formal process that they need to get nominated and support from their supervisors. And they have to be in certain pay grade because you're targeting in a specific, individuals in a specific pay grade or the position is because the whole purpose of the program is to continue advancing you to senior leadership positions. So now it has been formalized through the HR programs. Although it started with us, now it has more of a formal process that the company supports it.
Amazing. Kudos to you guys. Thank you for sharing. And hopefully other ERGs can take notice and replicate some of the great work that you've done. And please reach out to Liliana if you have additional questions.
Absolutely.
I'm going to move on to Alex. Talk to me about some of the things you guys do. I know you guys do great work. I see a lot of your posts. Talk to me.
Yeah, I'm always posting. So, Hacemos has been around for 36 years. We have 6,000 members nationwide. And we're always looking for new ways to develop our members and provide opportunities. One of the ones, I know you mentioned earlier, Rev, about award-winning, right? We have an award-winning leadership program. And the good thing is that we all have one, but we all tailor it differently based on our culture and environment. Mm-hmm. Ours initially started with Latinas. It was Emerging Latina Leadership Program. And then we started creating one, Emerging Latina Latinx. And this year, we're going to take that whole program and put it together as one. And out of the 6,000 members, we only accept around 25 to 40 candidates. And the rubrics, I don't have the accepted, but I know that we do accept members, whether they're frontline management, as long as they have the time and the commitment. It's a lengthy process for the program. Is very committed. And when they're done, they get a capstone to get introduced to other chapter leaders where they have the opportunity to join local boards and lead from there, right? Part of succession planning. Another thing we recently launched is our Hacemos Technology Series, where we started teaching our members with Power App, Power Automate, and SharePoint. Right now, a lot of people use these tools at work, but they only use them like A to B. Can't take it all the way to Z because there's so much you can do, but we're educating our field and skilling them up and not having like a learning virtual learning session, someone live that can talk to you and answer your Q&A. Lastly, I would like to say one of the last things we're doing is succession planning. Right? We started adding non-voting positions to our executive board and local boards, and that way they can learn and work with other ERG leaders. And at the time you have a vacancy, that person's ready to step up if we never have a vacancy at that point.
Yeah, you guys actually have elections, don't you?
Yes, we have an election every 2 years. We have to rotate it. We can't do all at once and it's a lot. But yeah, we do have an election process.
Yeah. I've seen campaigns for folks. Hey, vote for me that. I love it. I think that's great. It's a best practice in my opinion.
Thank you.
Awesome. And Alex, what would you say? And I don't know if you can speak for your members, but just based on your observations, when you do those elections or you try to get recruits for leadership positions, like what's your hook? What draws people to want to be in those leadership roles and develop themselves?
A lot of it has to do with professional development, right? I look for a person first to see if their passion is there, because we all have our selfish reasons, right? But if you have a passion to helping out the community, employees, and want to grow, that's the number one thing I look for. And then we vote on it, because you can have an election, but before you're elected, you get nominated. So we do vote to see who can move on to the next process. But passion is number one. Having that heart on your sleeve and showing it up front.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I think about the future of ERGs, and maybe Robert, you can go in here too. But as we think about criteria for selection, like for instance, where we are at AppV, when I think of recruitment, I think of people who are very impact focused, right? Business focused. Again, that's because I want to leave the ERG in good hands, because that's where we're going, right? And so I want to just at least put it out there for people to consider as you attract leaders, right? Look for that strategic focus, that business focus, understanding everything else doesn't go away. It's an and, it's not an or. But to do that. And Dr. Robert, from a succession planning perspective, do you see some of that kind of recruitment strategies in place from other companies?
What I'm seeing is greater alignment with talent management, right? I think companies have realized that, hey, these ERGs are not only should they be a mechanism to groom and develop future leaders, but let's make them a destination for existing leaders, right? Because if you keep grooming leaders and then they leave the ERG, right? That's great, but so what I'm starting to see a little bit more of it is a little bit more appointment, of the leaders of not just the Latino ERGs, but all the ERGs, right? Because at some companies, what I've seen is, you want someone who's very passionate, like you said, Alex, and has capabilities, but if they're not strategic, right, the ERG doesn't tend to be strategic, right? And so some companies have said, hey, we want to make sure that there's A players in there, right? And so let's identify people that we've already have deemed as high performers, high potentials, and let them run the ERG. But one of their tasks is to groom and develop other folks like them. So it's a relatively early trend. I think the jury's still out how successful that has been, but that's, I think bottom line, companies want to top grade, the folks who are running the ERGs, because quite frankly, the ERGs tend to be only as strong as their leaders. What some companies are realizing that in some cases, the demand for strong ERG leaders exceeds the supply. So that's why they're moving towards appointment.
Gotcha. Jane, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to jump in there and say, I think this is where the executive sponsors play a great role, because to your point, we want the leaders of the ERGs to be strategic, to be true leaders, not only amongst their peers, but from, building relationships across the organization. So the executive sponsors, I think, play an important role to help create that with the chairs. And I think that's where I know BMO is really evolving to engage the executive sponsors more. And what we've been doing is trying to get the global chairs promoted into executive sponsor roles, because they've kind of grown up and so they understand the dynamics of the ERGs versus someone who's a senior leader of the organization, an executive, but really doesn't understand the dynamic or how to work with the various teams as well.
Yeah, great call out, Jenny. Yeah, it all kind of layers onto each other, and yeah, those are great insights. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to the next question. I know we have a few more questions. I think we have about half hour left. Let's switch gears here. Let's go to adding value and business impact, and I'm gonna go to Yvonne and then Janie here. So Yvonne, what are some things your ERG does to add business value, business impact?
Sure. So first, I want to start off with our goal has always been to empower others to seize opportunities, right, for growth. That's a major driver for us right now in developing our members. So we're constantly creating events to help support both professional, personal development in different ways, right? So what does that look like? We've heard of events, but speaking about the strategy, we're trying to tailor them around our 4 pillars, which we'll get into more about the aligning to the business. But for instance, career development is one of our pillars. And so leveraging our executive leaders to share tips during the workshops, right? Networking with our senior leaders as well, not just with each other. So getting some involvement and some buy-in there to help entice our members and to revamp the engagement and keep the engagement consistent. We also are doing career planning sessions featuring our HR partners, right? Because who else better than to hear it from the people who wrote the playbook for how to advance, right? And so they are able to share not only with passion and the interest is there, but also share the tools that our team may not know are available. So this helps them grow and develop and bring more value to the business, but also it helps us increase visibility of our Latino talent within the organization. 2 quick examples that I want to give just to kind of deep dive into some of the events and to kind of think creatively out of the box in case to respond to one of the comments here that were questioning about budget, right? Well, not every ERG has a large budget, and that's okay. we are resourceful, and there are ways that you can still create engagement and impactful events. And one example is, for instance, we have a membership with ACER. And so the first thing we did with that membership, my co-chair and I, is really review the membership details, notice what's available for us, what we can leverage just from that, right? And so how do we turn that into impactful events and resources? So what we ended up doing specifically for this example is that we noticed that they have an annual leadership pipeline conference. So instead of the steering committee taking advantage of those seats, what we did is we decided to really engage our members and create a contest. We offered a chance to attend regardless of your Cisco location, since we are in 71, we have 71 different sites. Our members had to apply, and they had to share why they should be chosen to go, along with meeting additional criteria. So this contest just took off, and it was awesome. So the outcome of that was we had 2 winners who were able to attend in person, and we had 5 winners that we offered the virtual session to. So from that, we really noticed how our winners were inspired, but also that leadership can ripple outward, right? So they came back inspired, and one started the Hearts ERG in Canada. So that was our first international chapter. The other one has joined our US steering committee as our communications coordinator, extremely passionate about championing our initiatives within his region, and then also helping us create that strategy for our communication. So we don't have burnout, right? So, but we're finding really passionate people. One last thing I'll mention here that was kind of off the cuff, right? The marketing department kept asking us to leverage, hey, you know, we have some translations, but we don't know if they make sense. Fantastic. We had the idea to launch a language ambassador team. Not only does that involve our members, but it's a volunteer opportunity, right? But it's also a feel good, like I am contributing as a member. I am contributing and I am helping the business, not only in the translations to ensure that they hit the mark, but to resonate with our audience, making sure that our messaging is culturally relevant and effective. So
yeah, love it. Those are all great initiatives. I'm glad to see 2 chapter, or at least 1 chapter and 1 board. It sounds like a board member, but initiated action, right? And that's the whole thing. It's real action, tangible results. And I love the translations. You said feel good, but I see it almost as a do good, because you're advancing business by doing that. So kudos to you and your team. So thank you for sharing.
thank you.
I'm going to move to Janie. Same question. What is what are some things you guys do to advance business value and impact?
Yeah, so I have to say, I also love that language ambassador program. That's something that we think about for BMO. But our ERG has over 2,500 members in North America. We have national board chapters in Chicago, Illinois, Wisconsin, Arizona, Kansas City, Florida, New York, and most recently California. And much like many of the other ERGs, our core pillars are centered around client, colleague, and community, with the overwhelming majority of our focus on colleagues. So professional development, talent mixers with executives, networking, skills workshops, speaker events, which I know we both had you on, and also you, Dr. Rodriguez, in the past, come to BMO and do some events with us. But we also spend time giving back to our community, volunteering, engaging in the community. And we've actually every year for probably at least the last 10 years, if not more, have provided scholarships to Crystal Ray students going from high school to college. And so we're very proud of that. But we also leverage our ERG to engage our Latino customers. We host small business workshops. We've hosted CEO, COO roundtables to talk about relevant business topics and help provide solutions to business owners. Many of our ERG leaders are also members of various industry organizations and chambers, like the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, as well as active board members in both private and non-for-profit organizations. So we're bringing all of our networking together. BMO also has a focused effort in all of our business lines, so banking, commercial, and wealth, to acquire Latino clientele and Latino talent, because it's the fastest growing segment in the US, as I mentioned earlier. Through our ERG, we've partnered with all of the lines of businesses to really create a Latino strategy across our segments. And the director who leads our commercial Latino strategy for the bank is also the chair for our National Strategic Partnerships ERG board. So we're making we're making progress, for intersecting our ERG with the business. We're leveraging our networks to recruit not only, colleagues into our organization, but also recruit business. And I think that's really what's making us successful, because we are embedded into the overall strategy of the organization, especially with the Latino segment being such a large opportunity. That is definitely, we get called into marketing as well. Like, hey, like we were thinking about launching this for our Latino segment. Does this make sense? How does it look? What do you recommend? So we are really making sure that we're integrated into the organization and they see us as a value, and not just a team that likes to have fun and throws really dope parties, right? Like we do all this other cool stuff too for the organization. So that's how I would say we add value. Yeah,
and Jenny, I'm just like, wow, that's super structured, super impact, super integrated. That's phenomenal. Just a quick question. The workshops you've done with some of the entrepreneurs or small businesses, what are you hearing out there that they need? And I'm just trying to learn here. What do they need out there? What are they sharing or seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that we hear consistently, and you hear this whether it's at the angel investing side or whether the very small mom and pop shops, is access to capital. Yeah. And it's having somebody really understand them. And, you don't have to speak Spanish to understand the Latino colleague. And it's about trusting, and it's about investing in them early. So, our small business group, which is led by one of our chapter leaders who does this for a day job, really are focused on kind of understanding the client and being there, not just when they're successful, but when they're struggling and when they need it. So, but access to capital is probably the biggest thing that we hear all the time. How do we help these small business owners get that access? Because you can't, when you're profitable, most banks come calling. But when you're trying to build your business, it's those organizations that help you that are going to get rewarded with the business.
Yeah, and Ref, and if I can build on that, I'm in Angeles Investors, right, and I'm working with David Olivencia and Adele Cepeda to see, hey, what more can Latino ERGs do to help Hispanic entrepreneurs, right? And of course, like Janie said, access to capital, but a lot of times these entrepreneurs they need development too, right? So we're going to start an initiative to say, hey, Latino or Latina ERG. Next time you do a professional development workshop, would you consider inviting a Hispanic entrepreneur to sit in on your session on project management or on decision making, whatever that is, right? Because they need those capabilities as well. And a lot of times they don't have the funds to invest in their own development because all their funds go into the business, right? Mm-hmm. That's another way to potentially support Hispanic entrepreneurs, which impacts our entire community. So it's an initiative I'm excited to be a part of, and we'll be kicking that off here soon.
Awesome. Yeah, let's all stay connected on that, however we can help, Dr. Robert. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for sharing. So let's move on to the next question. And Dr. Robert, we'll kick off with you, then we'll do Liliana and Yvonne. What would be your advice to other ERGs to continue finding ways to add impact and value? Like how do they, what are some strategies to do that?
A couple of things. One is continue to invite business leaders into your Latino ERG meetings, right? Because I think there's always a great opportunity to enhance the business acumen of our members, right? Because a lot of times our members just say, hey, my job is to do X and I'm focused on that. I need to deliver results. And of course, we want to help them with that. But if you can bring in folks from supplier diversity to say, hey, this is what we do in supplier diversity, and this is what we're looking for in diverse vendors, that might help your Latino ERG and your members to identify potential Latino businesses that could be vendors for the company, right? How does our company make money again? So I think enhancing the business acumen of our membership profile would be something that I've seen has worked, and would be a bit of advice that I would share. I can't recall who said earlier, but that leveraging the executive sponsor, he, she, or they, not only should they be helping you develop your strategy, so they're serving as a strategist to see how you can make business impact, but they should also be an evangelist, right? They should be out there, tooting your horn and telling other business leaders what a great job that you do and how you could help But lastly, I think they need to be brokers, right? And make those meetings happen. So if you have a way that you think you can help support the business, have that sponsor make that introduction. I did some work a couple years ago with Amazon when they were merging with Whole Foods, and the Latino ERG, they connected with they wanted to connect with supplier diversity because they said, hey, we know some Latino owned farmers that would be great vendors for our whole food business, but we don't know who those folks are. The executive sponsor made that happen, right? So they were serving as that broker. So those would be the two bits of advice. Building upon what everybody else said is enhancing the business acumen of our membership, as well as leveraging the sponsors to help with our make an even bigger impact.
Yeah, those are both great. And just to go deeper on the leveraging sponsors, so if you're an ERG and the sponsor isn't doing those things, is it, what are some strategies to get the sponsor to make them aware of the need and to help make that ask? Like, what does that look like?
For me, it comes down to relevance and reciprocity, right? How I define being relevant is basically saying, in order to get what I want, I need to help you get what you want, right? So shape it in a manner of to say, hey, our Latino ERG can help, us grow the business, which is what you should want as an executive, and there's ways we can help you, right? So leverage it from a relevance perspective, and then also from a reciprocity perspective to say, hey, we're here to help. We're doing this above and beyond our day job, right? We're volunteering. Most of us aren't getting paid for this. Can you help, reciprocate and make that introduction, or give us that, advice and counsel that we desperately need? I know they're busy individuals, but shoot, all of us on this call are busy too, right? So sometimes reminding people that reciprocity aspect of it might be enough to kind of encourage them to get more involved and be much more active.
Absolutely. Good strategies. Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Liliana, same question to you. What advice would you have for ERGs to find ways to add impact and value?
Yeah, couple of things that have worked for us. So understanding the business priorities and aligning them to our ERG focus to address the business needs has helped a lot. We worked very closely with our executive sponsor. He's, the second, highest person in command, next to our CEO. And he has been an amazing advocate, identifying opportunities for us to support the business. Just to share an example, we, in Midland, there was an opportunity where they came to us and say, hey, we want to, there's some incidents with safety. And so we want to make sure that the people that are in the field that speak a lot, mainly Spanish, or is the main language, they're not able to read a lot of the critical documents that we have in the field. And for us, safety is very important. So the local ERG, had this idea. We brought it to our executive sponsor. He connected with the highest senior leaders in the MidCon business unit. And we had an amazing impact where now we have critical documents, we have training, and we created videos for those that cannot read to be able to understand what are the risks, what do they need to do to ensure that they all come home safe and and ensure that our operations are reliable. So working and developing that relationship with their executive sponsor will open up those doors where you have that direct impact to the business, right? When we're impacting safety. Another case was when they brought all the network presidents in the company. We have 11 of them, and Chevron was launching a new marketing campaign, and so they were seeking all of our input and feedback, before they released it, and they were taking into that consideration. So having those frequent touch points with your executive sponsor, and having him or her or that person advocate for that and identifying those opportunities help a lot. But to my point earlier, understanding the business priority, aligning that to what is our focus area and how we're going to support the business, partnering with other business outside like HR or corporate affairs to identify opportunities and really saying, hey, we can provide this impact. Or if you're trying to reach to the Latino community, we can help with that. We did something like that also in Richmond, where, California oil and gas, it's a little bit tough being in California. And so Richmond is a very Latino focused community. So how do we partner with the community to ensure that we are ambassadors of Chevron and why we need to be there to operate and help the economy and what we're doing, it's good. So it's very important to find those opportunities, but also engaging with the local businesses to understand what's the need and see how we can support them.
Yeah, I love that. The thing that stuck out to me about you guys is you listen, right? The boots on the ground, you're listening to the needs, and that's where it starts. And that's where our companies rely on us, right? We're there, right? We can see and we can feel this stuff, and to be able to identify it and then elevate it, super critical. Just like you have done. One of the things that I do and our ERG does too is we're always scanning the business just like you, and as we talk to senior leaders, we just ask, what keeps you up at night, right? Simple question, and they'll tell you exactly what keeps them up. The pain points or what they're concerned about. And once you have that insight, if you get different leaders' perspectives across the business, you can determine where and how you can lean in, right? Because you have insight to where to plug in. So just a quick strategy that we've used that helps us out as well. So thank you for sharing.
Of course.
Okay. Next, so we're going to go to Yvonne. Same question.
Sure.
What advice do you have for ERGs to add value and impact?
Sure. And so just to not be repetitive, right? Because I feel like we're all trying to align to the business goals here. So I'll share a little bit about the importance of how we've been focusing on creating visibility, not only for our ERG members, but the communities and the customers that our company serves. So for example, for us, that would be our restaurant owners, right? And so that means actively seeking ways to highlight our Latin and Hispanic cuisine customers or suppliers, right? So making sure that their needs and their voices are integrated in our strategy, but then also cross-collaborating with different ERGs to advocate for the needs that we are hearing. And in a lot of that, we start hearing, oh, well, my group, like our customers are which they're all Cisco customers. But when we talk like, for instance, the Catalyst CRG, which is our Black Associates resource group, we find ways to connect and help each other to bring and highlight our customers. So that's been a major thing, because ultimately Cisco is supplying food nationwide and global to our restaurants. So that's a big part. Another thing that I want to say is really leveraging the network that our executive sponsor has. So you guys have mentioned it here, but really we come to our executive sponsors saying, here are our challenges. Who do you know? Or do you know anybody that can help us solve for this problem? And we just attack it from the perspective of we are a team. We are a team, and so help us, help you, help us, help all. So that's been successful, right? And so finally, I will end with aligning everything to the business, right? So definitely understanding the broader objectives, understanding to I think it was Liliana or Dr. Rodriguez saying, like understanding your executive sponsor's priorities. And that helps not only pique additional interest and passion, but then also approvals for initiatives that you want to do that are really impactful for your ERG move a lot faster. Mm-hmm. So
that's a great point. Kind of go back to Dr. Rob, can't say the word, but the make sure it's a two-way street. The more you do that, the bigger champion you'll have, right? And they'll be willing to help in other parts of the business, connections, championing, whatever it is. So it's very important to create that two-way benefit. All right, we have two more questions. I think we got about 10, 11 minutes left. So let's get through it. So thank you, Yvonne. Dr. Robert, I'm going to go back to you. So when I think of now we've talked about a lot of cool stuff, right? And how, what we've done and how to do it. But what are some of the barriers we need to be aware of, especially for some of the newer ERGs or not as advanced? What are some barriers we need to be aware of, and how do we overcome some of those things?
Yeah, two things I would caution as far as potential barriers. One is sometimes the members themselves, right? That I've seen numerous examples where the member will say, "Wait a minute, ref. Every day when I come into work, I help the business, right? That's what I get paid to do. Like that's not why I joined the ERG. I joined to be part of a community. I joined to advance my skills. I joined to help raise awareness. I didn't join the ERG to help my company sell more widgets, right? So I think Latino ERG leaders need to be able to have a rebuttal, for that and help that member see kind of the holistic value proposition that that the ERG can have, and the importance of having that business impact, right? So I've seen that's where some ERGs have failed because they just haven't been able to convince the membership of the importance of having that business impact. And then the second part is just the receptivity from the business leaders, right? I've been part of engagements where the companies say, "Robert, we need to help our companies have a bit bigger business impact," and then the ERGs and the Latino ERGs like, "Ooh, we can help with this, and we can help with this, and we can help." And they come up with all these great ideas, and then the business is like, "Yeah, you know what? We're good. We already got somebody who does that," and stuff. So all this energy, all this excitement about having business impact ideas, it falls to the wayside because the leaders aren't receptive, right? So that's another area maybe we can leverage your sponsor to say, "Hey, you're asking us to have a business impact. We have ideas, we have suggestions." But if they're not being received or listened to by business leaders, then don't hold us accountable for for that, right? So I think those are the two big things to watch out for, at least based on what I've seen with folks. And they're things that we can overcome, but you need to be prepared. You need to have a point of view of how to overcome those things when they rear their head.
Yeah, those are two great call outs. And even when I think about my experience leading ERG, it's really important for any ERG leader to your point earlier, to set the tone, right? We are impact focused. We're business focused right away. So if you want to join us, this is what we're about. There's just no, it's very clear, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then talking to, the other thing I wanted to also chime in on is, bringing ideas. Don't just bring ideas for the sake of ideas. Make sure they're vetted, right? Make sure you have a strategy, a plan, how you're going to bring it to life, and the business case behind it. Take it to your sponsor, right? Your executive sponsor, and get that alignment. Because once you start getting those things, and be very narrow focused, right? You can't solve everything. But if you have a good strategy, a good plan, good alignment, right champion, those things typically are going to get pushed. So really put a lot of thought into ideas, and not just ideas for the sake of ideas. That'll help you along as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thank you for sharing. Alex, same question to you. Talk to us about barriers that ERGs need to be aware of.
One of the major ones that we mentioned earlier is funding, right? And one of the challenges we go through is getting funding and have it from sponsors that are external. As a 501c3, we have the ability to seek sponsors that are outside business units. A lot of applications automatically say, we don't fund ERGs or BRGs. Right, automatically, but if you get a hold of someone, you can explain to them, "Hey, we're a 501c3, but this is what we do." But funding is number one. Another one is perception, and perception is just because our name is Hacemos or you have Somos, Heart, and all the other groups doesn't mean that for us, for example, we don't only accept Latinos. As long as you're here for the mission, which is our 3 pillars, we will accept anyone. That's why I went back to the beginning of being passionate. So perception with us, you don't have to speak Spanish to be with us. I tell people, I have my own kids that some know Spanish, some of them are no sabo kids, right? So the perception is you don't have to know Spanish, be Spanish to be with us, as long as you're down for the mission.
Yeah, love them both. And those are great, right? And I'm hoping other ERGs can take your example and apply those to their situation. So great calls. Thank you. All right, I think we have 6 minutes left. We'll use the next 5, and then I'll close out with the last minute. And if I can ask all the panelists to stay on after we're done, just to recap. But okay, last question. This hopefully is a quick one. But what is one word that you would like to leave the with all our Latino ERGs and really our audience? What's the one word that you want to leave us with? And Dr. Robert, we'll start with you.
Oh, that's easy. For me, it'd be metrics, right? We have to be able to measure our impact, our value, our progress. Yeah, metrics that matter.
Awesome. Love it. Yep, absolutely. Liliana, same to you.
Possibilities. I think we have the opportunity to really support the business and help our people move into more senior positions. So I think, our passion and the possibilities now with the companies that are really, I know we have some challenges in the D&I space, but I think there is still a huge case as to why this is important. So I think we need to continue driving that impact and supporting other Latinos continue advancing to the C-suite. So,
absolutely, thank you, Alex.
Initially, it was empowerment, right? But I would say unity with our day and time and everything we're going through. Unity is my one word.
Yeah, very important. Thank you, Yvonne.
I'll take it back to resilience, right? To piggyback off Alex and Liliana, this is a reminder that no matter what the challenges, the Latino community has always demonstrated strength and resilience. So keep doing all the great things that we're doing.
Absolutely. Janie.
All right. So every year our ERG has a word of the year, which connects to the previous years in a meaningful way. So in 2003, our word was impact. 2004, our word was focus. And our word for 2005 is elevate. Elevate your game, elevate your impact, elevate your reach. So focus on your actions, you'll make an impact.
Absolutely. And mine would be accelerate. I love using that word, but advance, accelerate. Take whatever you're doing, career, business, all personal, doesn't matter, but take it next level. Have a plan. To Jane's point, be focused on it, but commit to it. So accelerate. All right. So with that, I think we have a couple of minutes ahead of time, but we're good here. But I do want to end to the panel, say thank you all. Phenomenal discussion. I don't know if there's anything in the chat that you guys want to address. I'll let you guys read through it real quickly. I'll come back to it. But in the meantime, I'll talk about our next webcast. It'll be next month. We're going to be talking about HSIs and getting our younger Latino talent workplace ready, right? And not just to be in the workplace, but to thrive in the workplace. So we're going to be talking about some strategies around that. We're going to have some great organizations that are going to be joining us. I'm really excited about that discussion. If you don't know me, I love the young talent because those are the new Dr. Rodriguez's, those are the new Lilianas and refs and everybody here, right? Very important for all of us to develop that talent and to get them workplace ready and to get them leadership ready. So I'm really excited about that. So with that, we have 3 minutes. I
do want to share, there's a lot of talk about D&I in the chat, and not to address it too much, but just to say that ERGs have been around for a very long time, and we're not doing it. So let's just stay together for the ride, and we're going to be all right.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. Any other thoughts, comments before we break?
Just been an honor being the subject of your grace and favor, Ref. Thanks for putting this together. Thanks to the other panelists, and thanks for all the comments. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you all.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, we'll let everybody go. Thank you. Panelists, please stay on as we end up here. But everybody, we'll see you next month. Talk to you soon.
thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Ref.
Mucho amor.